Hello and welcome to Smiling Souls. This is Stephanie Keenan Wright and Wendy Taduski.
Yay!
Yay!
Hello. Oh, hello, hello.
So, today, what are we talking about?
I believe it was being all over the place.
All over the place. No. I mean, I only messaged you an hour ago saying here's the link.
And I went like 7 minutes after. Thank you.
And you were like, "Wait, are we recording presently? Because I'm a mess still."
Yeah. You're like, oh, I got the time wrong. Or no, you're like, I'm an hour ahead. I'm like, well, I was hoping so because I'm sitting here eating my breakfast, looking at my email, wet, stringy hair, no makeup.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank God. And then you're like, what did you say?
I don't even know. What did I
Oh,
say?
you were very snarky. You're like, so you're saying you're not ready? You don't want to start? And I'm like, no. Holy, like, girl.
Girl. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's me. Trouble.
that's that's us.
Hmm.
Sometimes we're all over the place. Sometimes we totally have our shit together.
Yep. Yes. So yeah, today is talking about being going a mile a minute, having
Yeah,
all the plates spinning in the air,
all the
keeping them
plates.
going. Can we do it?
Yeah, sometimes they crash.
Yeah, exactly. And how do we handle that?
And
Um, you have a card to pull today? Did you pull a
I
card?
do have a card to pull today. I did not use my pendulum this time. I just kind of sorted through and I was like, ooh, that sounds like a good one. And I got spend more time outdoors. This is funny because we are smack dab in the middle of a heat wave,
That
the
is
likes of
evil.
which no one has seen since 1776.
Hmm.
So yeah, interesting. I'm wondering what the universe is trying to tell me there. Go outside, get heat
Go
stroke.
outside and fry. I mean,
I
a
know.
little time outside. The early parts of the day aren't too bad.
Yeah, it's
I
not
ate
bad.
my cereal outside today. So,
Really? Are you guys in the middle of a heat wave too?
yeah, yeah.
Happy summer.
Happy
What
summer.
did you pull and how did you pull it?
So, I pulled from my Druid Plant Oracle cards.
Oh, that's a serious book. Okay. And
Yeah.
cards are
Yeah,
that
I
size?
mean, all my cards come with some sort of book. This one,
Right, right.
the cards are bigger. They're much
Super
bigger. See, this is the size of the card. It's massive. It's bigger than my hand. But because last time you said that you used your pendulum to do the to do the card selecting, and I had never done that before with my pendulum. So I chose it with a pendulum, and that was really cool because I spread them out in a row, a big long row,
Okay.
and you know, all of a sudden at some point it just starts spinning, spinning, spinning,
Right.
and then I'm like, oh, how do I? Because where it was spinning, there were like four cards very close together. So I figured out where it stopped spinning on either side because it was still vibrating near the other cards.
Yeah.
So I took out most of the deck and had the four cards. And there was one card in the four that it was like, nope, definitely not
Right.
this card.
Okay.
And the other two, it was kind of like it spun one
Hmm.
way for one card and the other way for the other card, and then it kind of just was jiggling for the third card.
Ooh.
And yeah, but the one that it went the most excited for is the one I pulled. The one where it was like literally losing its mind, just spinning.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so which actually I'm wondering if I put so I'm gonna put the card on my book, which is on my fabulous stand of things that
Yeah.
keeps my microphone up in the air. I want to
We should do
see
like a behind the
so you
scenes
can
of our
see the
setup.
pendulums like just sitting there. And as I
That
get
is a
it closer to the
serious
card, I'm
pendulum.
wondering, will it start moving and doing the thing? Doesn't want to play. It knows it's being recorded. It's like, don't mess with me, lady.
Oh,
Nope, here it goes.
your pendulum was a little shy.
Yeah.
There it goes. Is it going clockwise or counterclockwise?
It is going counter.
You know what
Look at
that
that.
means. When it goes counterclockwise, it's removing something.
Mm,
When it goes
interesting.
clockwise, it's adding something in. At least that's how I was taught.
Hmm. Interesting.
But what did your pen, what
So
did,
I pulled the clover card.
oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, sorry, my
Oh,
there we
that's
go.
gorgeous.
Um, and the clover card upright is about wisdom, health, and good fortune.
Mm.
Um, boop boop boo. I had read the paragraph. I just was curious if there was something. It talks about how like the clover was just super important to kind of
Mhm.
the druids and whatnot, and represented fame, wealth, good health, um and there was an old phrase of living in clover, which meant living in luxury.
Ooh, here's to that.
Mm-hmm.
Living in clover. Isn't there some kind of phrase rolling in clover?
Maybe. I have no idea.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. And then there was a whole little history thing about clovers. But yeah, this deck I haven't played too much with, and I just, for some reason, the plants have been talking to me. So, it was time to,
Really?
I mean, the plants always talk to me. So.
Yeah, they do. You're the plant essential oil whisperer.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question. So with your pendulum, do you
Yes.
ever ask it something and it just like quivers?
I haven't played much with my pendulum.
Okay. I
I
gotta
got
find out what
one
does that mean?
specifically, and then lately I think the reason I got it was people had kind of talked about how you can use it to pinpoint, like, say, a essential. Apparently it wants me to use the angel cards. Um um to pinpoint like an essential oil, like it'll know what essential oil you need, that sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So yeah,
Okay.
but I don't play with it very often, so it's interesting to hear you learning about it and sharing and whatnot, because in all honesty, I kind of picked it up and just started playing with it. Like I didn't,
Oh gosh.
yeah.
I think, wouldn't it be fun if we like did an episode on on pendulums and the spiritual realm? And what
Yeah.
do you guys think? If you want that, send us an email. You've got our email.
Yeah.
Uh I forgot it. Spiritual, no, wait, smiling souls@gmail.com, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yay,
You
brain.
got it, girl. Okay. So, yeah, we will get into that at some other time. So, we are talking about having all the things going 110 different directions. I think the day we decided this topic needed to come up, I was in the middle of talking to you and went, "Oh crap, I need to send a message to my son's school."
Yeah.
And then you were like, "Oh, I need to send a message to the doctor for
To my
mom." And
right.
it's like, our brains kicking in where they need to. And
Yeah, because we always have these like pre-meetings before we record an episode or film an episode or whatever. And Stephanie's like, "Oh, I got to email my son's school," and I'm like, "Oh, I got to email my mom's facility and let them know she's got a doctor appointment." So yeah, we
yeah,
were all over the place that day.
we
Uh,
were.
and I don't know about you. Do you find some days like you're really focused and in the flow, and other days it's like the Monty Python circus has taken over?
Mm-hmm. 100%. Except there's
Right.
no John Cleese.
Walk this way. What
Exactly.
is it? The Ministry of Funny Walks or
Funny
something?
walks,
This,
yes.
yeah. Exactly. And I noticed you were kind of trying to keep me on track just a few seconds ago. You're like, "Yeah, we'll talk about the pendulum thing another time." Right? Because I'm like, I'm having one of those days today. I'm just like, I can work on this or I can work on that, or I gotta go do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
this is life in the I want to say sandwich generation.
It is. And I think also it doesn't help that we have social media and computers in our hands and all the things. So we don't ever unplug unless we purposely unplug. Yeah,
Ooh, should we talk about purposely unplugging?
I think so. Have
So
you
when did,
purposely unplugged ever?
yeah. So,
And like what degree of purpose? You know, there are those people that take the like, I'm taking a month off of social. I
oh yeah,
can't do
no.
that just because I post for the group and I do the things and
Oh yeah,
and
for
I
polka dot, you gotta
yeah,
for
exactly.
your business and
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Mostly polka dot is the thing. It's not so much the business, but I mean, I don't
Yeah.
like Facebook. If I could get off of it 100%, I would,
I'm
but
not a big fan of it either. Somebody needs to come up with another, by the way, social media thing that's not Facebook. So if anybody's out there that can do that, thank you. Yeah, so I have purposely unplugged on two occasions.
hmm
Well, not just two occasions, but two like occasions. The first occasion is when I go to one of my happy places.
hmm
Every once in a while, we go to Hershey, Pennsylvania,
Nice.
and I get to go to the spa
Yeah.
at the Hotel Hershey. And it's just such a treat, and it's glorious, and it's just beautiful. And so I get there, and you get the robe on, you get the slippers on, you put your purse, you put your clothes, you put your shoes. I put my phone in there,
Yep.
and I turn it off, and I'm there for like the whole day.
That's awesome.
Here's a tip. If you want to go to the spa and don't want to spend a lot of money, book a manicure or a pedicure, and they will let you stay all day. You can just relax. You're welcome.
Yep. Yep.
Anyway, that's one case. The other case, it's hilarious. It's kind of the opposite of indulgent when I've had to get MRIs.
Mm.
Of course, you have to unplug because you can't take your phone with you.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
I
two ends
mean,
of the
you,
spectrum.
how do you stay calm during your MRI though?
Valium.
Valium. Okay.
I
Yep.
love Valium. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have said
No.
and honestly, like my doctor will give me one, and I have to go
Yeah.
to the pharmacy and pick it up, and then I take it like an hour before. But nope, I'm awake, but I have no idea what's going on. It's wonderful. That's how I get through it.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
otherwise, no. When they put that,
Yeah. Huh. We'll
because
lose it.
I freaked out. I freaked
Yeah.
out the first time. I was like, no, I cannot do this, and they unhooked me, and I left. I was like, oh hell no,
Oh
hell
my
no.
gosh. Yeah, I had one for my head, and so I was freaking out ahead of time. And then it was like all they did was like just my head went into the machine, so it wasn't as stressful because my body was, I mean, it wasn't free to move, but it was
Right.
had air around it instead of a contained vessel.
Yeah. I my whole body went in. I did not know I was claustrophobic until that
Oh,
moment.
I know I am, and I know I like just hearing about it makes me like
Oh yeah. So
constrict.
so Valium,
Yeah.
just saying. Although, to be honest, now that we're getting to know each other better, and I
hmm
know that you are an expert in essential oils,
Yeah.
I'm thinking if I have to do that again, you and I are going to have a conversation beforehand and what can calm me down naturally so I
hmm
don't have to take that pill. Because
Yeah.
honestly, I'm a mess for the rest of
Rest
the
of the
day. It
day.
hits me hard.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I can do some essential oils and some breathing and just
Yeah.
we'll talk.
Okay.
But to answer your question, those are the so the two times I unplug. But
What
what
about
about
little ways of unplugging? Like, do you do
yeah?
little ways?
I so yes, in that I have boundaries around my weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday and Sunday, I am not answering emails.
Mm-hmm.
I am not on social media.
Yep.
Mm-mm. No, because I need a break.
Absolutely. You know what I
So,
have recently learned is there are quite a few people who set their emails to only go out at specific times. So in order to train their customers, like don't expect a message back from
oh
me
yeah,
until 11 a.m. or
right.
5 or whatever time they set their, emails to go out, which I thought was fascinating
That's so
because
smart.
they may be the workaholic that is working at midnight, but they don't want their customers to know that.
I had seen something, I don't know, we might have looked at the same thing,
Which
probably
isn't
did.
necessarily the right reason to do this, but
No, but there along that lines, there was somebody talking about they just got a new CEO in their company and
hmm
right. And the CEO sent some kind of blanket email to all the employees. It went out like 7 o'clock on a Tuesday. But in
hmm
the very end, it said, by the way, if you're reading this now, this is your downtime. Do not respond to this. This is your time. This just went out as an FYI. Please do not respond until tomorrow between the hours of 8 and 5. And I was
that
like,
is
that's an
fantastic.
awesome CEO.
That is an awesome CEO. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very impressive.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And
So,
and what was I going to say? You do train your, I call it training your clients, right? To
hmm
expect, yeah, I'm not gonna, unless it's an emergency,
hmm
boom, respond to your email right away. My boundary around that is I'll respond within 24 hours.
hmm
I always respond a lot sooner, but they also know if it's on the weekend,
It's
no,
not
you'll get
happening.
a response on Monday unless it's a SOS
Yes.
situation. But then in that situation, they have my email. They
Personal.
have my email. They have my text. They
hmm
they have my text number. They have my cell phone number. And they only use that in an emergency. So anyway, but
Yes.
yeah, you do boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Um, Doing what I do, being in aesthetics, my cell phone ringer is almost always off.
yeah.
Um,
Oh,
99.9% of the time.
mhm.
But then that also means that sometimes because, well, my house in and of itself doesn't like to give us a very good signal. So if I'm in my house, a lot of times I miss phone calls left and right, and my husband's always like, "You just don't like taking calls from me."
You get that too?
Yeah.
Why didn't you answer your phone? I'm busy.
Yeah. So, so strangely, in a way, I, I definitely don't let the phone own me in that fashion.
Yeah,
Like
you
in all
can't.
honesty, growing up, if the phone rang during dinner, my father would always get up to
Right.
get it, and my mom would
Really?
always, yeah, and my mom would always say, like, it's probably nothing important. Like,
Yeah.
they'll call
I'll call
back,
back.
because it was 19, whatever, 80
Hmm.
something.
How dare
And
they call during dinner? Don't they know any better?
right, it was a telemarketer 99.9% of the time.
Back
You
in the
don't,
day. Yeah.
yeah, back in the day, it's not somebody calling from, family. And,
Unless someone
and
died.
yeah, maybe that
Right?
was dad's concern. I don't know. To this day, he still picks up the phone even when he doesn't need to. And that's always been my mom and mine's take. It's like, it's fine. You can
Yeah.
call him back after dinner. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Or they'll leave a
That's why we
message.
have an answering machine or a answering service within your phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when it comes to phones, I clearly don't go crazy.
Right.
But at the same time, having that computer in your hand, you can be checking emails, you can be looking at the socials, you
Yeah.
can waste time on games, like whatever it is. So a long time ago, I was listening to a business coach person who was suggesting, having a box to put your phone in at night, or even
Oh,
she made like a big size one so that her husband's, and even like the iPad could go into it. And so her
that's
child even could
really
not see the devices, but it was also the box, like I think it had one of those charging pads or something so
Oh,
that the devices
well,
were
huh,
charging while they're hanging out in the box
brilliant.
away from you. So like she would be like, okay, put your phone in the box at dinner time so nobody's scrolling during
Hmm.
dinner.
During dinner.
Yeah.
Oh,
And things like that.
right.
I pretty much just put mine in a box at bedtime, but mine goes in a box. Or oftentimes in the evening once I've kind of like finished with the day and I'm just kind of chilling a
Yeah.
lot of times and the phone might need to be charging. I throw it in the box. I don't care. And then I don't look at it again until
Oh,
morning.
nice.
And there have been some mornings recently where I then don't pick it up and look at it immediately either. I get
Good.
up, I do my things, and like an hour later, I'm like, oh, I should probably check the schedule, make sure there's nothing pertinent other than getting the child out the door.
No, other than that.
Yeah,
So that's how do you totally disconnect? Like,
yeah. In those
well,
ways,
in
yes.
those ways, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, trust me, I have my moments where I get bored or I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, let's see what's happening.
Oh,
I try really hard not to ever do that. But like
I do
last night, I
sometimes.
will say last night, I went to bed to read my book, but then proceeded to just scroll stupid things
Oh my God.
for like an hour for way too long.
Yeah.
And then finally I put it down and said, go to sleep.
Isn't it funny? I did that a couple of nights ago and I slept like crap.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
But then we,
But then we do it.
every once in a while we fall into that trap.
See, I slept really well
Yeah.
when I finally told myself to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But I've also concluded that I think my bladder is like a camel, so it like holds it for like a good 10 hours. And then at like, 2 a.m., it's like, okay, let's
Oh
pee.
yeah.
And then at like 3 a.m., let's pee. And then at 4 a.m., let's pee.
You
Are
know,
you serious? Are you serious? And it's like your bladder's completely full at this point, and you're like, I have not drunk anything in 10 hours. How?
right. I'm getting ready for bed, so I'm not going to drink anything for 10 hours. Why am I peeing twice?
Yes.
Used to be just one time a night.
Yeah. And I mean, I was guzzling liquids yesterday because it was 90 something degrees. So,
Freaking hot.
yeah.
Yeah.
But during the day, it wasn't crazy bathroom sessions. So that's why I think I might be a camel.
Except at except at bedtime, then it's like, hey,
No, it's not
bladder's
even
having a
bedtime. It's
party.
middle of the night.
Your bladder decides to throw a disco bash. All
Yeah,
right.
exactly. It's
Like,
like,
come
come
on.
on.
And do you have two drinks?
I do. I do. I'm alternating between straight up water and some sort of iced tea thing. It's
So you are a two-fisted drink.
herbally. Well, technically I have a third drink. I have coffee too.
Oh my God. Um, okay.
And you wonder why I'm a camel.
I'm like, is she realizing this? Is she putting this together? I don't know. Three. Is it just three? Do you have a
Yeah,
fourth somewhere?
no, just three. Just three.
Okay, that's hilarious.
It is.
I'm just like, thank you for admitting you've got three drinks and not just two.
Yeah. So, other than our little ways of dealing with our phone, when we are like
Yeah.
really deep in the
Right.
crazies,
Plate spinning.
all the plates are spinning.
Yeah.
How do you find, because like you said, some days you're very focused and some
Mhm.
days you're not. Do you find you're more focused when the plates are spinning, or is it just a
Ooh,
variable?
that's a great question. Sometimes I will say this is kind of interesting though. See, I don't think you've ever met Martha yet.
I think I've met her on calls, but not in person or anything.
Okay, so here's the deal. She's my spiritual advisor. Let's call her that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And one day she sent me a message and she says, "May I clear your energy?" And I was like, yeah, absolutely. You never have to ask. But I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why? And this was a day I was spinning all the plates, but I was
Mm-hmm.
super focused, if that makes any
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yep.
And she called me on it. I was like, oh, okay. Yes. Feel free. You never have to ask. It was interesting, but at the same time, I'm like, I was getting so much done and I was
Yeah,
feeling good
so what
about it.
happened after she cleared your energy?
I slowed down. I
Okay.
slowed down and I was like, because I was, she probably knew this. I was approaching that, we talked about this, I think, yesterday. My rapid heartbeat. My heart was
Mm-hmm.
beating like so fast. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what she sensed, like, oh girl, you have got to calm yourself
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
And so once she cleared my energy, I didn't feel that what do I want to call it? Frenzy.
Yeah.
Then I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, okay, I'm right where I should be. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna go flow. And so it was a different energy. So yeah, I it depends. I can be, and I think it depends on a lot of things. And so I kind of want to bring that in because we're all about giving tips and advice. You know, um, when I find myself in that energy,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I will call myself on it. Sometimes others, like Martha, will call me on it. But when I call myself on it, I notice. And then I think, okay, what can I do to bring that energy down to get me in focus? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's just as simple as putting both of my feet on the floor, so grounding myself,
Mm-hmm.
closing my eyes,
Mm-hmm.
putting my hand on my heart,
Mm-hmm.
breathing in through my nose, out through my mouth, like 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
opening my eyes and just getting back into it. It
Yep.
could be just stepping outside,
Mm-hmm.
just stepping outside, breathing in the air, noticing the sun, the clouds, the grass, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, sometimes this works, switching what I'm doing. I'm going to go do some dishes. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to go fold some laundry, just a totally different mindset shift from out of what I'm doing into something different
Mm-hmm.
and getting back into it. That's what helps me. And um, that's what I, you know, if a client is in that, typically you are, we identify, what would work for you, and so I share some of that. But what do you do when you're in that
So
state?
it's interesting, like you were saying, you've got all the plates going. I worked with Connie Kuchar for a while, coaching, and she always says you cannot multitask. You have to monotask.
Mm,
And and for get accomplishing, she's like such a driven human, which is why I worked with her because she's so
right.
different than myself.
Yeah.
Um, but she makes these lists, and so instead of like just your regular gotta do list
Mhm.
that you put everything in the world on, and they can sometimes that actually creates overwhelm for the brain
Yeah,
oftentimes.
right.
She says it's your critical action steps for the day, and you can have one for
Mm.
your personal and one for your professional. And she's like, you cannot have more than three critical action steps for a day.
Ooh, that's very
Yeah. Now, she goes like, if you bang out those three, yes, of course you could go and do more, like you're not
yeah.
going to be like done for the day, but
Or you could peace
vacation.
out, right?
But yeah, and but the other thing is she says, kind of like celebrate those accomplishments when you get them done,
Yeah.
like for real. She says, if you've got some big projects or something,
Mm-hmm.
reward yourself at the end of the week that you've finished all the
Right.
things by going and getting a pedicure or something, like
Yeah.
whatever it may be that makes you happy, but that your brain actually gets the reward instead of just got to keep going, got to keep going, got to keep
Right.
going.
Why do that to yourself?
Because if you're just got to keep going, your brain never gets the reward. And then it's just
It never gets to rest.
exactly. Now, I'm not exactly reward driven, but
Yeah, me
but
either. I don't think.
yeah, like when I was a kid, my parents sent me to this like special reading program where I was, they tried to have all these fun games that if you read this and you did this and whatever, and it
Okay.
was supposed to be a fun game element so that and then you get a reward at the end. Like you got to, the only thing that I actually got excited for was the reward of playing foosball after I did certain things.
That was your
I
thing.
may have occasionally cheated to get the foosball.
How
Um,
did, okay,
you say you've read
continue.
you say you've read the things, but you haven't read the things.
Dude.
I I sucked. But primarily I was just like, yeah, whatever. I don't care about stickers. I don't care about
You
this.
just
I
wanted the
don't care
foosball.
about yeah. And my mom was always like, this is the worst. You are so not reward driven. So therefore, how do we motivate you to do your schoolwork?
Okay, so how did they motivate you?
Um
Was it motivation? What was that?
it wasn't motivation really.
Okay.
Because in I think honestly, I did the stuff at that special program because I knew I needed to learn the things so that I was not in the like dumb reading group and the special.
I was in the dumb reading group too.
Yeah, yeah. I was in the special reading group and the special math group and
Me
the
too.
yeah. And
I love that we were both special.
you knew you were different
I knew I was special.
along
Yeah.
with like four other kids.
God. Yes. Wendy and whoever, it's time for your special class. It's like, no, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, girl.
So yeah, it was like I think honestly at some point it became whether it was an embarrassment or I just don't want to be doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you start to realize like you have to be able to read. You have to be able to do things.
Yeah.
And I did care to a degree. I was never going to be the A student.
Right.
I'm a BC student,
Me too.
you know,
Solid.
happy there, solid, it's fine. Not gonna like not gonna kill myself. But the things that came naturally, I could get an A in, but I wasn't also was not the type of student that could memorize things just for
Oh,
memorization's
Lord.
sake.
Yeah,
Like
I could not capture anything to save my butt.
no, it doesn't work that way in my brain.
Mm-mm. Me
So,
either.
yeah. So, anyhow, back to the concept of rewarding ourselves. So yeah, that reward could be something more like a break, right? Taking a break, taking time for yourself, figuring out what it is you actually need.
Take a
Because it
nap.
doesn't have to be a consumeristic thing like going and getting a
No,
pedicure. It can just be
take a nap.
taking a nap, going down to the park and just chilling for a little
Yes.
while, whatever, giving yourself that grace, basically.
Right. Yeah. Grace
Reading a
and
book
space
for an
and
hour
you
instead of telling yourself you have to do 10,000 other things. Um,
taking a lunch break.
yeah. Oh my God. When I worked in an office, I was terrible at taking my lunch. I ate at my desk so often.
I did that now, up till like maybe a couple of years ago. And I'm like, you know what? Why can't I have a lunch break? And so I just started
Mm-hmm.
taking lunch breaks and I'll sit and I'll watch Netflix for like
Mm-hmm.
20, 30 minutes. And it's like, ooh, I like this.
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
switch off my brain for a little bit.
Yeah,
Yay.
exactly. So yeah, so I think that is a big one is just making that time for yourself. Um, I do find, yeah, sometimes when all the plates are spinning, you feel like you're being productive, but you really are better off. Like I find that I bounce more and more. Like if you,
Mm.
for example, if you're trying to clean the house while all the plates are spinning,
Yeah.
you'll just go room from room to room to room, but you're only doing like, I pick this thing up and then I go over to this room and then, oh crap, now I'm going to do this thing over
Right.
here and nothing's clean by the end of the day. But you've been working all day long.
Right. I do that too from time to time. And then a little voice in my head says, the way you do one
Focus.
thing is the way you do everything.
Mm.
That's from one of my mentor coaches.
Mm-hmm.
She gets in my head. And
Yeah.
then it like catches me and I'm like, oh, right. Slow down, focus on the task at hand.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm writing that quote down.
You're welcome. Now she's going to be in your head.
Exactly. Well, yeah, as it is, I've already got Connie. Monotasking.
Mono. See, okay. Does that work for your brain though? Because I like to do a task and then I'll switch off and I'll do a different task. And I
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? It works for my brain.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you're focusing on one and then you're switching to the next thing. You're not trying to do them at the same time.
But sometimes like I'll work a little bit on, let's say, notes from a
Mm-hmm.
conversation I had with a collaboration partner.
Okay.
And then I know that I've got the notes, but I still need to do a couple tasks within the notes, but I'll set
Mm-hmm.
that aside because I'm like, well, that was a lot. And then I'll go
Yeah,
do
no,
something
that's
else
okay.
and I'll come back to it, right? Because that's how, like, I won't sometimes finish the whole thing.
No, I
You
think that's
find,
totally fine.
so how do you, like, when you say don't do a lot of things, how does that apply? Give
I
us an
mean,
example.
I know Connie, if Connie were here, she'd be telling you, like, try to focus.
Finish the damn
So,
thing.
well, so like when she was really helping me the most was she would say, all right, looking at your schedule, looking at your call schedule, like,
Mhm.
can you make your polka dot connects only on one day and then your
Oh, yeah.
business connects another day
Right.
and then your this day is for something else. Um,
Right.
that made a
Yeah.
lot of sense because then your brain's not shifting gears every call, right? You're not going from like, oh, this is a connect call to, oh, now I have to put my coaching hat on. And now, I think when it comes to actual work on a computer, like
Mhm.
working out ideas or
Yeah.
working through, like, if you were doing that, like, let's say, writing down ideas for the podcast, and then you're stepping away
Yeah.
and gonna take a little break. And then when you come back to your desk, you might work on creating a workbook for
Mhm.
your clients.
Right.
That's a little different because
It is different.
you're
Yeah.
having your segmented time within your day to focus on those certain things, but you're focusing on those things. You're not also trying to do the laundry, brush your teeth, and I don't know, something else.
Occasionally I will do that. I'm just calling myself out. That makes a lot of sense to,
Mhm.
okay, this day is all business connects.
Mhm.
This day is all polka dot connects. This
Mhm.
day is because you're right. When you have many different types of calls in
Mhm.
a day, it does take your brain some time to switch and get into that conversation. So, yeah, that's a
Mhm.
good tip. That's a write
That
downable.
is a good tip. And as I've it looks like going into the fall, Thursday is going to become my like mastermind day because I'll have my
Ooh,
MD mastermind, well, twice a month,
yeah.
MD mastermind, and then right after that is the one that I'll be leading. So
Oh, you
twice a
signed up for
month.
that.
Yeah.
Your small group mastermind?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's exciting.
So it'll be like mastermind day will be Thursdays. And so that'll be kind of Thursday will probably be go to the spa
Yeah.
uh and polka dot day probably in my world. And Friday is
Cool.
going to become like podcast focus day.
Podcast day. I
And
gotta,
the other days of the week have their own separate needs and things. So
you know, I kind of tried to do that at the beginning of this year. Like today, for example, is Financial Friday
mm,
because it's a good alliteration. But now we've got the podcast on
yeah.
Friday, so I got to figure out how to rejigger that
Well, one portion of your day? I don't know.
podcast AM Financial Friday, whatever. I'll work on it. Uh,
I
I
like
did,
that you have to have little rhymes to your day.
I do. So like Monday,
Makes it more fun for you.
I don't know what Monday is. I don't schedule anything on Monday. That's another boundary I have. I like starting my
Me
Monday.
Monday.
It's really me Monday. It's like get caught up, ease into your week. I love that. I love Mondays. Anyway,
Yeah.
Tuesday, hell, I don't even know what Tuesday is. There's been a little bit of a breakdown in my week, but I know this, and so I know to get in and okay, what's not working, what is working. Let me refocus that.
I think that's kind of what happens in summer though.
Yeah, yeah.
Because summer, first off, creates that breakdown for a lot of people. Like people go on vacations, people are kind of like, whatever,
Your kids are
I
off
can go to the
school.
beach, you
Your
know.
parent is, oh my God, I gotta tell a funny about my mom.
Please
So
do.
yesterday I go into mom's um, assisted living and I walk in the door and the nurse Amanda, she's so funny. She goes, I just saw your mom. She's in her room sewing. And I'm like, okay, good. Because it was like 99 yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
No sooner does she say this, mom comes walking in from the freaking courtyard. She was outside. And I looked at Amanda. I'm like, well, clearly she slipped past you. She sees me. And mom's like, oh no. And so she starts booking it to her room in her little walker because she knows. I'm like, I will come every day after work and I will water your plants. Please do not go outside. She was so busted. So busted.
That is hilarious. And at the same time, I kind of wonder if I know, trust me, I know that the hot weather is not good for the old people. But
And to top it off, she had a long sleeve shirt on and a blazer.
well, that's because their blood's so thin. They're always cold. And this is where I was going is she might have just needed to warm up. Like my dog loves to just go and lay in the sunshine, even in this crazy 90 whatever degree heat. He just wants to all he wants to do is sit outside. And so I've been letting him sit outside, but then I bring him in
Right.
sporadically throughout the day and I'm like, cool down and drink some water, please. And he's like, can I go outside again,
Hey,
please?
mom, can
Can I
I?
go outside? I was like, I don't want the neighbors calling like Animal Rescue League on
Animal
me.
control.
Yeah.
This mean woman.
Yeah.
No, he's crazy dog.
And he just wants to warm his bones in the sun. And
I
he's actually
maybe
gotten smart. He goes under the umbrella sometimes too.
I probably shouldn't worry so much because like the nurses keep an eye on her and they would not let
Mm-hmm.
her stay outside all day. But still, I was like, dude, I know she's making a break for it. It's like,
She's like, oh God, I gotta get out of here.
you know, you
Wendy
got
saw
busted.
me.
I can't unsee it.
That's the best part of that story.
Like, go
Like,
ahead, mom, run.
I'm just gonna run away now
I'll catch up with you.
with three long strides.
Oh no, she's pretty fast with her
Oh,
walker. Like
she's a
sometimes I'm
speedy.
like, gosh, dang it. You wait. No, she
That's
got all the way to her room
hilarious.
and shut the door. I was like, hey,
I've
she
been in
was
here all day.
so busted. Yeah, your mom's in her room sewing. Eh,
No, she's not.
yeah, she's not. Well, we are at the tail end of
Hmm.
this episode. So how do you want to wrap this up?
Hmm. I don't know. I'm not sure that we've really answered much about how to handle the plate spinning, but I think we gave some ideas.
I think we gave some ideas. Yeah, just
Hmm.
step back, feet on the floor, breathe,
Yep.
go do something
And then
else.
those are definitely the things I do for sure. So
Oh
that's why I
yeah.
didn't repeat them because
Okay.
that's
Well,
that's all you can do.
it's all you can do.
Well, and I think it's just important to be present enough to know when you're spinning.
Oh yeah, that's a big one to
Because
notice.
I think there's a lot of people who honestly think that they're so efficient when they're spinning in all the directions. And
Yeah.
so they thrive off of it. Like they literally are just like,
Hmm.
yeah, this is the best.
Right.
And they think they're in their groove, but really, are they? Or are they like a whirling dervish?
That's a great question they can ask
Mhm.
themselves.
Exactly. And
How is
so,
being a whirling dervish, how is this serving me?
yeah. Is it serving you? Is it am I being productive? And how do I feel when I'm
That's
because
it.
that's the key thing. How do I
Yeah.
feel?
Your body never lies. It'll tell you.
Yeah,
You just got to check in with it.
exactly.
Oh, I think that's a beautiful way to wrap up.
Okay.
So, see you next week.
See you next week.